It's Sunday and it's getting a little bit chilly. We're going into fall, so what's a better time than now to completely restart my island from scratch and turn it into an enchanted forest. So I'm actually very excited because I just got the new and improved resident services today. So I thought now would be a great time to take you along with me on this Animal Crossing journey. So I kind of did my entrance already, and the reason is because when I had this idea for this enchanted forest, I was picturing it to be very realistic, but I wanted to see what it would feel like in game when translated into the game mechanics and how we experience it, the UI and all that fun stuff. So I was really happy that it kind of worked out, and therefore you're seeing this video. So if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Yugi and I'm your average casual gamer, and sometimes, to be quite honest, I play games depending on what the air makes me feel like. But if you like this energy, definitely hang around and subscribe and join me on this magical journey. Alright, so this is going to be a whole series, and to make it easier I thought we would divide it. So this is my island, and fun fact, I had a natural hot pond, so that was very exciting. I took pictures for proof, but I wanted to start with a campsite today because I think dividing it like this makes it more doable when it comes to redoing your whole island with a theme. I think it can be quite overwhelming to just start anywhere, so I try to plan it a little bit so this way I have a clear path that I'm taking, and makes building it a lot more manageable. Speaking of paths, so I'm not at the point in the game yet where I get the able sisters. I hope it's coming soon, maybe this week. I just need to spend more money when I see Abel and Mabel actually. But so right now, and I'm so sorry for this, but we don't really have paths yet. I'm not putting them down. You will see on some parts of my island when I go around that I kind of put on a custom path that was already in game. So I needed to kind of like get a sense of what some of the look of the game would look like with paths, because this time I'm going for one of those curvy paths for the first time, and my previous island was the one I started in 2020 and it was very much normcore. So this is all new territory for me. Alright, so one of the things I'm trying to focus on this build is the main trees I want everywhere to really make this design come together are the cedar trees, and because of this I want to make sure that I utilize as much of the cedar trees on this island as possible, because I need all of them and much more. What I did for the entrance actually is I got a few Nook Mile tickets and I started traveling to these Nook Mile islands just so I could take the cedar trees, all of them. And the reason was because I was really trying to imagine what the theme I picked would translate in game, so I really needed to see what it would look like with the full grown trees and how that would work, which I'm glad I did, because at first I had some saplings that I also got. How did I get them? Oh, thanks to the amazing Animal Crossing community. So I have to say, Animal Crossing community is a really lovely and generous community. So I'm on this Facebook group for Animal Crossing, and when I announced that I started my island, so many people were excited to help with just like giving away a few things. So that was really helpful. That's how I got some of my little items that I'm placing around the island, like this mush lamp. And it was all donated by one person, Muna from Moonshadow, so that was exciting. And thus it allowed for me to make this video with a collection of items. That's the other thing that I'm focusing on in this build, is collecting items enough to inspire me on how to use them in one area. And some of the items I use in this build, honestly, I was really excited for. Disclaimer, you may notice, but this video has a few cuts, and the reason is because it took me a long time in between placing things down, of just running around to understand what I was going to do next. Because like I said, I'm trying to focus on using the natural resources as much as I can, but also things sometimes look much different in game than you imagine in your head. So I had to make it work. So yeah, alright. So the first thing I'm doing is I placed down my main trees because I'm trying to get a sense of how the pathing would go around my island. So the way I imagine it, there's going to be a grapevine on this side. That's going to be the main way of entrance, like that's the full experience. You go on the vine and you come into this little area and it curves to the campsite, and then this campsite would curve into a picnic area. You have a few fishing corners that you can take different routes for, a little dining area, a little hangout, and just all that fun stuff, some seatings. So it all sounds confusing right now, but you'll see what I mean soon. So as part of that, I'm putting down a lot of flowers. I'm also adding a few bamboo trees because I want some contrast. If I only have the cedar tree, that did work in the entrance with just the cedar trees, but I also need a bit of those bamboos to add a little bit of dimension, a little bit of contrast. And here's me getting bit by wasp again. So this time I tried this technique that I heard, which is you run away, then you turn around and you catch them with the net, and I couldn't do it. So for the rest of this video, this is how I will now look like. Isn't this fun? I think this look though really tells you something about who I am because I'm always very clumsy and falling into just annoying situations that happens to me. So this is what happens to me in life. Well, hopefully never by this many wasps, but I've been bit by a wasp before. Alright, I'm getting distracted. So again, I'm working on this entrance, making an entrance to the campsite and trying to add the dimension with my bamboos and my trees. And just a little heads up, I am going to be time traveling at the end of this build because I need to know that everything did work together and the trees did grow and how it comes together. I don't know, it's gonna take too long if I have to wait a whole week. So I am going to time travel just because time is of the essence here. Alright, so with my flowers though, I am mixing it a little bit. I'm trying to do a nice mix of colors, although I really do want to focus on red and yellow flowers for the fall mystical whimsical vibe that I'm going for. I'm using all these adjectives, so when you see it come together, and you've seen my entrance now, so let me know in the comment, how would you call this theme? Because I've been racking my brain for a while trying to think about it. I was somewhere between mystical forest, whimsical forest, and enchanted forest. But it's kind of like a little bit of all of those, but not one of them fully either. So it's been something I've been trying to figure out. So let me know in the comment, what is this theme? Have you ever done something like this? Is it closer to gnome core? Because I'm just going with my imagination here. the theme came from something I imagined, which honestly is something I would love to walk into someday, but we'll get to that eventually. So the other thing that I think has been really helping me bring this island together between the resources, so the trees, the flowers, and the items that I'm placing, all those wood stake, like the log stakes, honestly, in all those years of playing Animal Crossing, and it's been 4 years now. Has it? 3 years? 4 years? I never used it before. And I was kind of shocked because I was like, really? How did I never notice this before? I just never used it. Well, I assume I did use it because you do need it at the beginning to make some other items when you craft your DIY, but I never actually placed it down. And when I saw it this time, maybe it's because like I was so determined to start this island without all the tools I needed, and I wanted to use what I had at my disposal to make it come together. This log stakes really caught my eye. So I'm using it, and it's really helping me add to this feeling of like everything is not exactly aligned. It's a bit, it feels a bit natural, feels a bit random, but all very cohesive, and this is the reason for the cohesion. So yeah, it's been a great addition. If you're trying to make a similar island like this, I really do recommend these. I'm also on the lookout for different types of fences I can add and use in very interesting ways, so that's something that would be cool as well. Alright, so this lamp, this moon chair actually, I have been wanting to use this for I don't even know how long now. I've been dying to get this, and honestly the only reason I got it is because, again, Muna from Moonshadow, she really gave me some really nice elements that I could use in my build, because before she came to donate a few things essentially, she asked me what my theme was, and she said she had a few things that could help with that. So I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw some of those things she brought me. That's why I couldn't wait to get started, really. Alright, so now I'm just trying to figure out what's gonna go best in this corner. I was thinking maybe a tree or bamboos. So just trying to see what works. Oh, well, I dug a hole so it could go in the hole, but the tree had other plants, so you know what? I'm gonna go along with it, make it work. It kind of works. Maybe it's good in a way that it's not too close. Maybe I don't need to frame it so much, and something else can go in that little corner or over there. The other thing I think that's helping with this build, because it's somewhat of an in-between between enchanted and whimsical, or lampposts. So the reason I'm starting this island at night is because I wanted a lot of those light features. I think it's those lights that make it feel more magical, added with, you'll see I collected a bunch of star fragments that I want to put around the island too. So I think it really comes together. It really looks amazing when the sun sets and at night. So this is what I'm doing, but I'm using different pieces of lamps to make it come together, and there's two reasons for this. If I want whimsical, I felt like it would be better to have different types of lamp everywhere and really have it be complete mix rather than have one type of lamp. But then the other reason is a practical reason. It's that if I have a mix of light and lamps around, I don't need to worry about buying hundreds of the same type of lamp. So this way it can look awesome, and I can just keep collecting things and letting the things I collect inspire me. So is this how you do it? What is your process, I wonder? Because mine is very much like, it's planned, but at the same time it's random. So while I have those plans and those ideas of what I want to do ahead of time, the big part of it, the big sum of it, comes from what the space inspires me to do in that moment with what I have. So I think that's the magic of this game, is just like how much you can do with the imagination. And honestly, one of my favorite things to do sometimes is watch other channels do their tours, and some of those people do things that I would never do. Our styles are very different, but I just love watching just how much creativity everybody has and how awesome everything looks. Sometimes when I also just want to play Animal Crossing and I don't really want to do anything, say if I'm tired, what I will do is I would just, lounge on the couch, dock it to the TV, and go on dream addresses, because then it's relaxing, it's wonderful to see all those beautiful magical things, but then it's like the perfect getaway. So that's what I'm doing. Also, just wanted to add, the cutscenes you are seeing, well, not seeing actually, are basically me running down to my house to get more items from my storage, or me running down around the island to get more trees and plants. So if you do wonder why when I open my inventory every time there's so many new things and different things, that's why. That's what's happening when I'm not showing you. Alright, so the other thing I wanted to do, because again, this is a forest, right? So you need to feel that you are really surrounded by trees. Even though I can't exactly cover the land with trees, I tried this at first, having the trees be everywhere and you walking around these trees, but then it doesn't really work with the game if you can't see what's between the trees. So one thing I came up with was having the trees in a strategic way that gives you that dimension, that depth of field that you need to feel like you're among trees in a lower angle, but at the same time putting trees behind every building, every houses, just making those elements feel very immersed, is something that I thought, oh, that could work, So when I built my campsite and you saw me adjusting it at the beginning, I tried to be mindful of that, having enough space behind the campsite to be able to put down more cedar trees, because I really want these big, like pine tree looking moment. Well, I guess it is called cedar tree in real life. Alright, so I'm placing this table here because actually today at Nook Shop, which I got 2 days ago, I saw that they had two little things that could be nice with my build and the campsite. So they had a camp stove and they also had a kettle. So those two elements look like, oh, those are things you would totally find at a campsite. So the other thing I'm also trying to do with the items that I'm placing out, so it's decoration, but at the same time I want it to be a little bit like an Easter egg moment, because you start to discover, well, at least that's the experience I want people visiting my island to feel. I want you to feel like you start realizing that those things you're seeing around everywhere, the decoration, kind of like matches in a sense, like it's like things that someone left around. So I wanted to make you wonder who's leaving all these things around. So that was my little bit of a fun moment. So an example, and you'll see it soon, is I got some Mario and Luigi shoes and they are around the island, so you can walk by and be like, oh, shoes, whose shoes? So that's kind of what I'm going for. because that was where the idea originally started, was just like walking around and stumbling upon all these things. So that would be fun. I think eventually what I also want to do, and again that would be for after I get my custom paths, would be to maybe find some custom paths that look like footprints so I can add them in a few strategic places. Alright, so now that we got our kettle and our camping, camp stove on the log table, we kind of have this dining area, and later on I'll show you how, but you can access the seating area from both sides. It's a little bit of a tricky thing though, so it's kind of like one of those things that you really have to try to figure out how to. It's not that hard, but it's a bit difficult that might make you think it's impossible. Alright, so adding a little bit of a campfire, and then here I think I'm gonna add the paper lantern right in front of it. So again, you see that light from both sides. I did put the destination post by the entrance because I felt like that was fitting. You have multiple paths, you need to know where you're going. It really fits with the idea of the forest and the campsite. So actually I bought the DIY, and I think I'm gonna be putting more of it around the island. So the thing is, at some point in the future, well, a bit further down in the future, because this island's gonna take me a while, but I would like to do a big finished island tour. And although I'm doing a lot of this now, I expect that when I do collect more items and I do get more things, that things might change just a little bit more. So especially with the paths and how everything works, so I might have to adapt to what the circumstances bring me. So at that point, really, there might be a few more changes. So this will be coming up, and then I think I'm going to also add all these little extra elements that I'm learning, like the signpost, to just place it around. And this is what I was talking about with the log stakes. It just really adds something to the space. I don't know if it's the contrast of the dark wood or how it's shaped, because it's shaped in sort of like this curved triangular way, so even when you put it and you turn it around, it still looks interesting. So I think right now that's my favorite piece around this island. Alright, so more flowers. I'm really trying to be smart with my mix of flowers and colors, but at the same time, sometimes I'm just allowing myself to be fun with what the land has provided around me. And I think the cool thing with these flowers and what I'm using, flower from the lands, is because I do want them eventually to grow even more. So just because like I want like more flowers on the island, I want them to propagate a little bit, so then I will be able to use the extras to put in more places, and that's what I mean by adapting. But today we're doing our best just to get ready today. I'm adding this bigger campfire here, and so this one is more of a bonfire because I want you to be able to see this one from a few different angles, and I'm just testing right now, making sure it's right. But yeah, I want you to be able to see it from different angles. My thought was, this is the bonfire that is lit at night so the camper doesn't feel cold. You know, you need something warming up the tent, don't you? I'm putting this little superstar that I collected, I think on my first day of restarting my island, and I just thought it looks awesome here with the moon at the back and the star and the lake. It would have been great if I could find a way to make the moon reflect in the water, but I think that's just thinking about a different game at this point. So for now, it's all coming together. I really just can't wait to put the path down because I already scoured the internet to find some awesome custom paths that I'm going to put on this island, And when I do the tour, when I do reveal what path I use, rest assured I will link everything in the description box, because some of these creators, what they did was simply amazing. So it's really coming together. Alright, so this is my little fishing nook. So sad I didn't have a fishing net with me in this moment to show you, but this is going to be where little corners where you can catch fish if you need those different angles, like we always do sometimes, just moving around to get the fish. I'm adding some bamboo around here too, and this way, you know, it adds that dimension that I'm looking for. So right now I feel like the campsite is not quite where I wanted, because I want more trees, but at the same time I feel like if I put more trees, it's just gonna be a bunch of trees and it's gonna hide, like have like hidden elements, so that, you know, like not the cool kind of hidden elements, but more like the ones you really can't see no matter where you go. So I'm trying to just keep that in mind constantly. So adding some of those bamboos, I think when they grow is gonna be nice, because that's gonna add that more of dimension I wanted. Alright, so it was at this point that I realized my computer somehow ran out of storage and my game capture card stopped recording. But don't worry, you guys didn't miss much. At that point I was just adding extra elements and really trying to just like fill up space, but in a way that was cohesive. So let me take you with me on a little tour of what I finished up with. And yes, like I said, I am time traveling, so we could see everything in full growth. So when you come in, you have the little destination post, and it's helpful because there are so many little curved areas on this island and you need to not lose your way. I have my campsite here, and honestly I just love how it's looking. Like I said earlier before we got cut, the trees at the back grew and it's making it feel more full and complete and more like a forest than what it was before, so I'm excited. I also added some pumpkins around so we can have more of that enchantment with pumpkins. There's no fall without pumpkin. My little moon chair is just in full glow. I really love it, and I think the bamboo is really helping with it. I made this little quarter of a circular rug that I put over there, but then I realized I had to do it for the other corners and I just didn't want to repeat everything. So that's placement, just so I remember that I would like some kind of a circular rug pattern to go there. I also tried to make sure that you can still move around the island and just like get around in little corners so that you have different views, different photographable moment. You can snap a picture with your camera and have like different angles. And like I said earlier, this is how you access this side of the seat, so you can sit and you can turn towards the camera and take a picture just to show that you went camping on Glimmerwood. Isn't it awesome? Alright, so now I just have to get out the same way. I have a little star here to dig for bladders, well, fossil. And then this is my little fishing nook. So let me take you first actually to my campsite, to my picnic area. So this picnic area, it's kind of shaped like a semicircle. And I saw this really awesome circular rug that I think I'm gonna place half of, so it looks like it's really curving. It's like a half rug, and that's gonna be awesome. On your left is the Mario shoes I was talking about. So let me tell you what my idea was. My idea was we have an elf gardener on this island, and that elf gardener, we have his lunch right here. He left his watering can right here, it's made of gold. He left his bucket, it's kind of all his, and you kind of have to try and find him, and I had an idea of how I'm gonna do that, have an actual elf gardener. So that's a deeper project that I will work on, and I will show you at the big reveal when I do the full island tour. Weeks maybe ahead of us. Alright, so this is what it's really looking like so far, and honestly I'm loving it. I think it's coming together, and I think the paths will just help to complete it, so I'm excited. So I think that's it for this video today. Thank you so much for staying with me and hanging out and joining my decorating, rebuilding journey, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Also, give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Thanks!